I never imagined I'd be the kind of man to walk into a lounge and find his wife wrapped around another man, laughing, touching, leaning close like some love-struck teenager. Yet life has a brutal way of crushing illusions when we least expect it. That night, I wasn't even supposed to be there. My best friend Daniel had called out of nowhere, his voice tight, too tight. "Hey man, are you free right now?" "Yeah, what's up?" "You need to come to the Velvet Lounge now." Something in his tone froze my blood. Daniel wasn't a man who panicked, but this was different. There was weight behind his words, something dark. "Why?" A long pause, then his reply. "It's Emily," he said. "She's here with someone else." For a second, I couldn't absorb it. The name Emily sounded distant, belonging to someone I didn't know. My Emily, my wife. "You're wrong," I muttered, my throat bone dry. "She's at home." Daniel's voice was unshaken. "She's not." And that was enough. I grabbed my keys, driving like a man possessed. The roads blurred, my thoughts trapped between denial and despair. When I reached the lounge, my heart thundered in my chest. The place was crowded, dim, filled with expensive perfume and alcohol. Daniel waited near the entrance, his expression hard. "She's in the VIP section," he murmured, "with Ryan Keller." I stiffened at the name. I didn't know him personally, but his reputation was legend. He was the type of man who only chased married women, a predator who thrived on secrecy, arrogance, and conquest. And now, apparently, he had my wife. Daniel led me toward the section, and then I saw her, Emily. She sat on a sleek leather sofa beside Ryan, leaning close, lips near his ear. As she whispered, he laughed, bold, smug, his fingers playing with her hair. My gut twisted, my fists clenched. Before I could move, I heard his voice. Cocky, cruel. "I only sleep with married women," Ryan declared, loud enough to rise above the music. "They crave what their pathetic husbands can't give." Laughter erupted around him, his sleazy friends raising glasses in mock tribute. Then Ryan looked straight at me. He saw, and he smirked. Well, another loser shows up." The air vanished from my lungs. I didn't think. I moved. My fist smashed his jaw so hard he stumbled, crashing into bottles of champagne. The lounge froze. Ryan groaned, clutching his face, his smirk gone. His buddies jumped to their feet, startled. Emily gasped, her color drained. I seized Ryan's collar, yanked him close, my voice a whisper sharp as steel. "You think you're king of married women?" I growled. "You just made the worst mistake of your life." For the first time, Ryan looked afraid. Good. Security rushed in, dragging me back before I could break him further. But the damage was done. The entire bar had seen him humiliated. As the guards pulled me away, I turned to Emily. She stood frozen, eyes wide with guilt. "I'll see you at home," I said coldly, "if you're still there." Then I walked out. But this wasn't over. Not close. By the time I reached home, I wasn't thinking about her excuses. I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused. Ryan Keller had built a life out of ruining marriages. It was time someone ruined him. And I knew exactly how. The next morning, I headed downtown to Ryan's prestigious law firm. Walking straight to the receptionist, I said, with confidence, "I have an appointment with Mr. Keller's boss." I didn't, but boldness opens doors. Minutes later, I was face to face with his superior, a sharp-eyed man in an expensive suit. I slid a thick manila envelope across his desk. "This," I said, "is a record of Ryan Keller's extracurriculars." His boss frowned, Opened it, flipped through the contents. Screenshots, messages, videos. With each page, his expression hardened. Proof Ryan had used his position to target married women, even clients. By the time he looked up, his jaw was stone. "Thank you," he said, flatly. "We take this very seriously." That evening, Ryan walked out of his office for the last time. Fired, disgraced, career obliterated. But I wasn't finished. Ryan had a girlfriend, Lena. Sweet, innocent, unaware of who he really was. So I found her socials and sent her everything: screenshots, voice clips, even a video of him flirting with Emily that night. She ended it publicly, in front of their friends. "I almost married a disgusting fraud," she spat, before throwing her drink in his face. Ryan was destroyed. No job, no lover, no reputation. And still I wasn't done. Emily tried to apologize. She cried, begged. "It was a mistake," she sobbed. "Please, let's fix this." I laughed, pulling out divorce papers. "Already signed." "You didn't make a mistake, Emily," I said. "You made a choice. And so am I." She collapsed. Then I added the final twist. "By the way, the house, it's mine. Thanks to the prenup you signed." Her face broke. She was left with nothing. No husband, no lover, no escape. As she wept, I walked away, free at last. The following weeks blurred by. I watched Emily pack her bags, her face haunted by regret. She had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. And for the first time in years, I breathed. News of her betrayal spread like fire. Our circle buzzed with whispers, pitying stares, quiet judgment. Friends reached out with sympathy disguised as shock. But I didn't care. I was done playing the fool. Ryan Keller, once cocky and untouchable, vanished from sight. The arrogant predator was now a scandalous memory. His reputation shattered, businesses cut, ties without hesitation. Those who once laughed at his arrogance now mocked him. In hushed tones, the man who thrived on destruction was left ruined, abandoned by the very world he once manipulated. But the most satisfying part wasn't the silence that swallowed him. It was the noise, the articles, the online mockery, the way his name became a curse. Headlines revealed who he truly was, his life of charm and manipulation crumbling, like a house of cards for all to see. And though his downfall brought me a cold satisfaction, I realized there was something more personal, something even sweeter. One night, as the sun slipped beneath the horizon and silence settled heavy over my home, there was a knock at the door. Rain fell in sheets, pounding the ground with a mournful rhythm. When I opened it, there she was, Emily, soaked, shivering. Her makeup streaked across her pale face. Gone was the confident, radiant woman I had once known. Before me stood a ghost, hollowed by regret, her eyes red and swollen. "Please," she whispered, voice trembling beneath the rain. "Please, just hear me." She reached out, but I stood still. "I was selfish," she stammered, her voice breaking. "I didn't think about you, but I love you. I swear, I've never loved anyone the way I loved you. I made the worst mistake of my life. I need you." Her words cut like a blade, sharp and merciless. Once I would have collapsed at the sight of her like this. Once I would have wanted to rebuild, to crawl back to what we had. But no longer. "You destroyed everything, Emily," I said, my voice steady, colder than I had ever imagined. "You don't get to return just because you're lonely. You broke the trust we built for years. And now," I drew a breath, feeling the weight of finality. "Now you'll face the consequences." Her face crumpled, the last shred of hope ripped away. She opened her mouth but no sound came. And then, without a word, she turned and ran into the storm, her sobs drowned by the rain. I stood in the doorway, watching her fade into the darkness. For the first time, I felt nothing. No rage, no sorrow, only closure. Months passed. Slowly, life stitched itself back together. I buried myself in work, the one sanctuary I could rely on. I focused on gathering the shattered pieces left behind after Emily's betrayal, and little by little I healed. Then one morning a phone call shook me to the core. Ryan Keller. At first I thought I misheard. Why would he call? The man who had mocked me. The man who had taken so much. What could he want? I answered, gripped tight on the phone. His voice came through, the same, but not. I need your help, he said, and for the first time there was no arrogance, no smirk, only desperation. I almost laughed. Help? After all you did. Silence, then a broken sigh. I'm out of options. The man who once strutted through life, untouchable, was now in ruins. His career dead. His wealth gone. The power he had once wielded slipped through his hands like sand. I have nowhere to go, he murmured. I messed up. I was wrong. Please. I need a chance. Help me. I'll do anything. For a moment, I felt something unexpected, a surge of power. The roles were reversed. I held the cards. And, briefly, I almost considered it. Almost. Let mercy drown out the justice he deserved. But then I remembered. I remembered his smirk that night at the bar. The laughter. The way he flaunted his cruelty. The way he tore apart lives. Without a second thought. And all hesitation vanished. You should have thought about that before. You crossed the line. I said, my voice like steel. I'm done saving men like you, Ryan. And I hung up. From then on, I rebuilt. I forged new friendships, new connections. I began dating again, opening myself to the possibility of love without betrayals. Shadow clinging to me. As for Ryan Keller, his name withered into whispers. He clawed for relevance, tried desperately to rebuild, but the world never forgot. No matter how he struggled, he couldn't outrun the weight of his actions. In time, even the whispers ceased. There were no more articles, no more scandals. His name became nothing more than a warning, a reminder of what happens when arrogance meets its reckoning. And me, I thrived. I learned that self-respect is priceless. That revenge, when done right, isn't fueled by rage. It's justice. It's reclaiming what was stolen and forging something stronger in its place. Betrayal doesn't have to define you. It can be the fire that builds something better. And in the end, I reclaimed my life.